Who had a better era between two GOATs? The 2000s Kobe Bryant versus the 90s Michael Jordan. Big Ox, it is on you first. Elder, you will go second. And Big Ox, your time will start whenever you put those gloves on and decide to swing.
I mean, Ron, this is really a crazy topic. Like I enjoy the fact that we show Kobe Bryant so much love because he was, an amazing player. I got him in my top 10. But to compare Kobe Bryant in the 2000s to Michael Jordan in the 90s is somewhat disrespectful to Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about a dude that never lost. You know what I'm saying? A guy that three-peated 2 times. You know what I mean? A guy that was never in question. It was never a question who's the best player over here. You know what I mean? A guy that was the best player of that whole decade. Undisputed, man. Undisputed, chat. It was never a conversation. Talking about a guy that went to play baseball that we're still begging to come play in the NBA. He was in the MLB and still the best NBA player. You know what I mean? Never once was he second fiddle. Never once did he get carried. None of that. This topic is egregious and it's actually unfair to Elder. And I'm sorry that you had to take this, Elder, because this is crazy. You have no leg to stand on here. I mean, we're talking about the GOAT versus a guy that some people don't even have in their top 10. I don't understand what we're doing here. This is a wash. See, it's easy. It's right in front of you.
Wow, Elder, he basically just counted you out. So let me give you a chance to count yourself in. It's on you.
All right. I would agree with some of the things that Bob said. He is definitely the GOAT. I still have him as the GOAT. And that's probably it. We're going to stop at that point right there. That's all I'm going to agree with. At the end of the day, it was an incredible era in the 2000s, from 2000 to 2009. And a lot of people consider that the most toughest era in basketball. They definitely don't consider the 90s, even though that's the era I played in, as the toughest era. And it says a lot what you said, Bob, about a man that went to play baseball. And for the game to have any interest, they had to beg him to come back. That tells you a whole lot about that era. I'll let the people do what they do. There's a lot of folk that put down that era and say he really didn't have to play a lot of competition. That's what people say. Now, Kobe, you never hear anybody say that, especially the team you love, those Sacramento Queens. Kings, I'm sorry. They challenged Kobe and them in them eras. Kobe never got carried in any of those series. He did play with another all-time great, but Jordan played with many, many all-time greats. Kobe did his part in those first three-peat, and he definitely did his part when Shaq was gone to show the whole world that he didn't have to have Shaq to win. Now, did Michael get an opportunity to show the world he can win without Scotty and without these other all-stars? Well, he did, and he didn't. He never won without all those. But Kobe went and showed everybody, I can do it. In a more tougher era, right when the era got started, when guys started to put together their own big threes and things like that, not organically. So it's definitely something to talk about.
Jordan didn't play in that era of scrubs or whatever you're trying to imply, Elder. He played against a lot of heavy competition. He had to go through it with Detroit, Boston, the New York Knicks, all these teams. There was great teams in the league. I know we got a younger audience and it's easy to fool them and make them think things like that because they already got some preconceived notions that we all know are false. Other you know that's false. You know what I'm saying? You watched it. That was great basketball. And they didn't beg Jordan to come back because the league was down bad. Like the league wasn't in shambles. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't in shambles. It was still great basketball. Houston was now the better team. That's because Jordan was gone. I mean, the Magic were great. New York was great. There was a lot of great teams. I hate that. I hate the idea that Portland wasn't still a great team. So that's a what they call a moot point. That's crazy, Elder, for you to say that. And you can't compare Scottie Pippen, as much as I love Scottie, to Shaquille O'Neal. Like you said that he never played with, or Kobe played with Shaq, but Jordan played with Pippen. Like that's not even a fair comparison. Shaquille O'Neal was the most dominant player of that time. So this would be better if we were having a Shaquille O'Neal versus Michael Jordan argument. Like Kobe doesn't belong in this conversation at all.
Damn, Elder, you have been ruled out. Would you like to rule yourself in?
Oh yeah, let's get to it. First off, everybody on their all-time list have Kobe above Shaq, no matter where it is. And you said earlier that Kobe's not on a lot of people's top 10. That's just not true. You got one fool that come around here that don't have that because of personal reasons. Other than that, Kobe's in a lot of people's top 5. So let's just keep it a buck. You talked about how they didn't beg Jordan to come back. Think about it. When Jordan left, the Houston Rockets ended up winning with Akeem Olajuwon and a bunch of guys that nobody else knows. Now, unless you are a big-time basketball aficionado, as soon as Jordan left, Akeem Olajuwon and a bunch of nobodies won. You understanding what I'm saying? That ain't how it was in the 2000s, bro. It was more competition. Defense was off the chain in the 2000s. Kobe went up against a lot of elite defenders. This was the 3-and-D era that came out in the 2000s. So Kobe had to go up against all those people. And he just was an overcomer. He overcame all the different odds that was out there. Jordan is great. I have him as my GOAT. I'm not disrespecting him. But to sit here and say that we cannot compare Kobe's era to his era, Kobe done dominated that era. And he went to 7 championships in that era. Jordan went to 6. He went to 7 in that same time frame. So you can't sit here and say that you can't compare these two. And Shaq didn't go to all of those. That was Kobe. And again, the switch up for Kobe was really important. Jordan never got a chance to do that. Actually, did. He couldn't do that. Kobe switched up and said, when everybody said you can't win, he went and showed everybody, I can win without Shaq. I've been holding this booger's coattail for a while.
Ox, can you hold your own coattail? Round 3. Let's do it.
Well, I'm not concerned with my coattail. I got Jordan, so this is an easy one, Ryan. I'm talking about a guy with all these all defensive teams, MVPs, Finals MVPs. Does Kobe have those 3? No, those are Shaq's Finals MVPs once again because Shaq was the dominant player of that time. This will be a better argument if we was talking about Shaquille O'Neal or Tim Duncan or something. With all the respect, R.I.P. Mamba, but this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like the 90s belonged to Michael Jordan. You discrediting the Houston Rockets saying there was Hakeem Olajuwon and a bunch of nobodies is that's another just disrespectful point. That was a heck of a squad, my bad. That was a hell of a squad. They as soon as Jordan came, they won because they were built like that. Jordan was spanking these teams. I'm talking about Portland, Phoenix. These were great teams. The Supersonics, the Jazz, all these teams that he had to beat in the finals. That's crazy. Like if once again, that time the era you're debating right now was not Kobe's era. That was Tim Duncan's era. Those was ran by Shaquille O'Neal. That's why he got those finals MVPs. If we talk about later 09, 010 and all that, yeah, Kobe did it. But before that, second fiddle player we're talking about.
Elder, round 3, talk to us.
You got a lot of misconceptions, brother. That was Kobe's era. He the one that won 5 chips during that era, not anybody else, bro. He was leaving that. He came into that era winning, and he left that era winning, bro. So you used Detroit and Boston. I heard you say that earlier. You see, you got to get your facts straight, brother. Jordan wasn't beating them in the 90s. That was in the 80s when they were dominating. Then in the 90s, when they got old and their teams fell apart, Jordan didn't have to fight up against them anymore. But when they were whole, Jordan couldn't beat them, bro. Go back and look. Them was in the mid and late 80s. But when the 90s came, them dudes were done. The Isaiah Thomas and them, they were done. What's them, they were done, bro. They were done. So he didn't have to beat them guys. Them guys just literally retired and got old and brittle before. He couldn't beat them. See, that's why Isaiah Thomas has that mindset about Jordan that he has. He can't be the GOAT because he can never beat us. Remember, you hear Isaiah Thomas saying that. This man didn't beat us. What happened was we got old and retired. Then he stepped up. That's all. In an era that a lot of people just call weak because they think it was watered down. That's the same era where all the expansion teams and all that stuff start coming around. So they felt like the 90s just got watered down and Jordan took advantage of a weaker era. At the end of the day, I think you being disrespectful to Kobe being Bryant by saying that he should not be in this conversation. You're naming inferior players to Kobe Bryant, saying they should be in here when they didn't do all of that in the 2000s. They didn't. Duncan won what, 2 or 3 in the 2000s? Shaq won 3, bro, or 4. But he really was on. Well, I'm done. My bad.
Let's get to the polls. Mars voice. Let's get to the polls. All right, round 2. Well, topic 2, round 1. Let's get into it. Big Ox, you went first. So Elder Rufus, you will go first on topic 2. Who had the best season in the 2010s? Talk to me, Elder.
All right, I'm gonna say Steph Curry had the best season from 2010 to 2019, and I'm gonna pick that year. I think it's 2015, 2016 when he was a unanimous MVP. Now I know some will say, well, he didn't win the championship, but all basketball aficionados know that was a dominant season for Steph and for the Golden State Warriors, and he led them consistently the whole year. If that team was not derailed by injuries, they would have easily won the NBA championship and to seal this thing. Starting the season off 24-0, 35-1. The thing I love most about that was Steph Curry's leadership. They had won the year before, and then he just came back out letting everybody know, I'm the king of the NBA. Like that first month, he averaged almost 40 points a game. When you watch him, he didn't have like these big 60, 70, a bunch of 40 points a game. He literally averaged mainly between high 20s, low 40s all season. He was so consistent with what he did. He shot 50, 45, 90 for the season, y'all. This is a point guard or two guard, whatever some of y'all call him, shooting 50, 40, 90, 5.5 assists. 5.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists, 2.1 steals. So he's playing defense. Steph set the tone that whole entire season. And then he did something that no one else has ever done in the NBA, which is win 73 games and then also win the unanimous MVP of the season, meaning every single voter voted for him. I'll have more for you in a minute.
Ox just put the gloves on, Elder. Good luck. Go ahead, Ox.
Yep, no doubt, no doubt. Elder said he's gonna have more for y'all in a minute. We're not even gonna get there because I'm gonna tell you who had the best season in the 2010s. It's obviously 2011, Dirk Nowitzki. Let's talk about that. I'm talking about the West that was stacked, the 61 win Spurs team, the defending champ Lakers, the young Thunder squad, the Nuggets, the Trailblazers, the Hornets, the Grizzlies. All these teams were in the West going crazy. You know what I mean? I'm talking about to make the playoffs, the AFC was a 46-win Grizzlies team, if I'm not mistaken. That West was hectic. Dirk averaged 21, 8, and 3 that season. But it was really close to 50, 40, 90 in the regular season. Very close. If I'm not mistaken, they were 57 and 25 that year. This is a guy that was written off, a guy that was called soft his whole career, a guy that lost to Miami in D Wade and Shaquille O'Neal, whose era that was in the 2010s. Dirk lost to them in 06. They wrote him off, and he came back this year, 2011, playing incredible basketball. I'm talking about scoring over double teams consistently, doing everything, scoring from every spot on the floor, from the block, mid-range, 3 balls, in transition, doing all of this. Dirk Nowitzki definitely had the best season in 2010s.
Elder, talk to us.
I wish we could do this and have our facts straight. Because did Bob just tell us the Hornets were in the West? Did I miss something? Yeah, you said the Hornets was in the West. They ain't never been in the West. You made a mistake. That's all right. I'll clean it up for you, brother. I'll get the broom out because there's a sweep going on around here any dang ways. So the Hornets is definitely never a tough team in the West. They've always been in the East. And again, this is not about the greatest playoff run, which Dirk Nowitzki could be talked about with that Dallas team because they did upset some juggernauts in that playoff run. This is about the full season. The question is, who had the best season? 73-9 trumps 61 and whatever. And guess what? Steph played 79 of those games. So it wasn't like he was injured and hurt and all of that. And then you talked about old boy averaging 21 points leading his team full of mediocre guys and no real all-stars, stuff like that. Steph did it with some good Hall of Famer guys and still put up 30 points a game on 50. You understand that? 50, 45, 91. Bro, that is absolutely incredible playing 79 games. And again, everybody knows this would have been the most incredible season in the NBA if they didn't get derailed in the finals with all these injuries that just kept coming up to all their best players. The big men, Clay, all these dudes were ever going to end up getting hurt. That's the only thing that derailed them. That's it.
Okay, Elder. Big Ox is back on you.
Elder, I'm gonna need you to double check your stats, brother. The New Orleans Pelicans, New Orleans Hornets were 100% in the West, 2011. I believe they were the 6 or 7 seed that year, 100%. So y'all don't let Elder fool you and think I'm just up here saying any old thing. I know what I'm talking about. We here though. Anywho, let's talk about this. This is a team with Tyson Chandler, a older J Kidd, a 5'3" JJ Barea, Sean Marion, Jayson Terry, Deshaun Stevenson, Brendan Haywood, a broke down Peja Stojakovic, and this guy Dirk Nowitzki carried this squad through the rough West that I was just telling y'all about in the first round. So let's not act like what he did that year was some just fluke or just nothing. Like, let's not disrespect that season. That was a hell of a season from Dirk Nowitzki. And 57-25 in that West, that's something to write home about, Elder. Let's not discredit that. And on top of that, Dirk not only had a hell of a regular season, but he got it done. He got it done. Steph Curry folded like laundry. I'm talking about Steph Curry folded like T-shirts fresh out the dryer. Dirk Nowitzki did not. You talking about injuries? Dirk Nowitzki's second best player, Caron Butler, played 27 games because of injuries. He was hurt.
Yo, Elder, can you debunk the laundry theory? It's on you.
I can do it. And yeah, he got adjusted because Caron Butler definitely missed the whole season pretty much. So they just adjusted with that. Now, Steph Curry, like I said, he played 79 games. He led this team from the beginning to the end. He didn't average 21. He averaged 13. One of the leading scorers in the league. Check this out. Steph also, I think this is the year where what's the name was hurt. So they had to start the season without even their coach. 24-0 run without their coach, bro. He had long runs. He had 24, let me look at my stats, 11, 13. These are winning streaks that they had throughout the year. The total focus by Steph Curry and the leadership by him, to me, was absolutely incredible that year. He was determined to win. And again, all the people that know basketball know that if they didn't get depleted in the finals, it would have, when they were healthy, look what those final games were in the beginning. They were destroying Cleveland. It wasn't even going to be close. But when everybody got hurt, what can you do about that? Because again, when your players start to go down, it's nothing you can do. Now, when your players gone the first part of the season, it's easier to adjust at that point. It's easier to adjust and you can get your team going and put guys in the position they need to be. I'm not knocking Dirk. That was a great playoff run. The West is always deep. So winning 50, 60 games in the West, one of the top teams, that's what you're going to do. His playoff run was great, but I don't think his season was better than Steph's. And he was MVP. Don't forget. Unanimous.
Yeah, Elder. You talk about them not having Steve Kerr to start the season. If you ask me, that's what you call a blessing in disguise. That's what you call a blessing in disguise. That helped them out a little bit. And you keep talking about if this, if that, if. I'm tired of the ifs. We don't got to do any ifs over here with this season I'm talking about. We don't got to. You know why? Because he went to Portland and took care of them. He went to your Lakers, and I know you remember that sweep. You talking about bring out the brooms. He brought the brooms out on the defending champion Lakers squad, went on to OKC and took care of those young fellas, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, all these guys that y'all praise. He took care of them and then went on and got his vengeance against the Miami Heat. Got his vengeance against them, against Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, LeBron James, a guy that the chat is telling me I should have picked Bron. No, I should have picked Dirk because Dirk gave it to Bron, gave it to Kobe, gave it to KD, gave it to all of them. There was no if. He rose in the playoffs, from 21 a game to 28 a game and took care of business. There was no ifs about it, Elder. I don't got to come over here and make up storylines. Well, this person would have got hurt. Well, his second best player, Caron Butler, did get hurt. And Dirk Nowitzki made no excuses. He just took care of business. No ifs about it. That's why he had the best season of the 2010s.
Keep going, chat. Put up them polls and keep going, chat. Run the polls.
That wasn't bad, Bob. That wasn't bad.
Hey, look. I'll show y'all a good debate.
Bad.
We got one, boy. And we got one on our hands. Keep going, chat. Keep going, Big Ox, and keep going, Elder Rufus. But we have a third round on our hands, which is Luka Doncic versus Jayson Tatum. Which player has a better overall impact on winning? Big Ox, it's on you to take it away and start the round.
This is a great topic because of the greatness of these players. Luka Doncic is obviously a fantastic basketball player, but he has a glaring flaw, which I'm going to stand on for this debate. I'm going to bring it up time and time again. The glaring flaw is the defensive end, the defense side of the ball. He brings nothing. He brings absolutely nothing. Like I've said before, they might as well play 4-on-5, leave him on that side and cherry pick all game. He just brings no tenacity, no aggressiveness. The thing about it is he might make a defensive play here and there because he has a high basketball IQ and for the most part knows what's going on. And so when he does a play like that at the end of the third or makes a play like that in a run in the middle of the fourth, people just like, oh, well, look, he's playing defense. Well, that's just not true. Luka Doncic can't guard his own shadow. So, like, how could you have more of an impact than a two-way player who's also very, very good on the offensive side of the ball and competes very well on the defensive end of the floor? I don't see how a player like this could bring more to a team that just won a championship than a guy who nowhere to be found on the defensive end. I mean, when a guy goes by him, he gives no effort to recover. He gives no effort to rotate. He's standing in mud, just watching the play. You can't be that impactful in winning if you're a complete negative on the defensive end. I don't understand how we can really have this debate. Once again, Elder, I'm sorry you got a bad topic.
Another bad topic that I will probably still win this debate. Anyways, we can go that route on the defensive end because we already understand what the NBA is all about. The NBA is not about pushing defense forward. The NBA is about entertaining these people. And that is exactly what Luka Doncic does. Now, I disagree that he is zero on the defensive end. He has gotten better. He has been challenged by a defensive-minded coach that he has in Jayson Kidd. So it's going to take time. Now, is Tatum a good defender and a good offensive player? Yes. But when you add up I don't even want to bore y'all with the efficiencies and scoring and shooting, all that. Y'all know all of that stuff. Every single category, Luka leads in every single category. And you see him on the same trajectory. Now, mind you, Luka's not playing in the weak East. His whole career has been in the mighty, mighty West, battling those guys. And he has, in a short time frame, still gotten to a Western Conference final. This year, making it all the way up to the finals and everything. Did he lose to Boston? Yes. But when you got the payroll that Boston's got, and you got the type of players that Boston got, and guess what? Boston did a good job of putting an all-defensive-minded, all-star team together. Porzingis is a previous all-star. Everybody on that team's been an all-star except Derek White, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? So, and he's an Olympian, getting more time than Tatum. Don't give Tatum credit for these championships. He didn't get MVPs.
Keep going, Elder. Ox, can you stop Elder from going?
Don't give Tatum credit for these championships because he didn't win MVPs. But y'all remember the Kobe Bryant talk we just had a minute ago, right? Don't forget about that. And Elder, once again, I do want to say, yeah, this is a lopsided debate for you, and I'm sorry. And if I do lose that, it's not about Jayson Tatum. That's about you being a better debater than me. I would take that if I lose this, Jayson. That's on me. My bad, brother. But look, you brought up entertainment. And yeah, that might be what the league is about. But basketball is about winning. The NBA might be about entertainment and selling tickets and shooting 50-foot threes and all of that. That's cool. But we're talking about basketball and winning and who has a more impact on that. And it's not Luka Doncic. And it's definitely not. The thing about Jayson Tatum is this as well. Even on the offensive end of the floor, when he's not having a great shooting night, he can take a step back and become more of a facilitator of the offense, more passing. You know, he can back off. Luka Doncic does not back off, and that might be because he very rarely has a time when he's off like that. But Jayson Tatum is versatile. You know what I mean? He could play at different spots on the floor. He doesn't have to have the ball pounding the life out of it. So I think that's more impactful. If you want to have an argument about is Luka better than JT, that's fine. Whatever. We could do that. But on impact on winning, I find it hard to believe that we can really think it's Luka Doncic over Jayson Tatum.
Elder?
All right. Impact on winning. Winning is the goal, which I agree with this 100%. Why is there always such a debate on who's the best player on this team, especially when winning counts the most in the playoffs? Why is it that Jaylen Brown's name rises up every single year in the playoffs and Tatum's name goes down? Why is it that we're on the Olympic stage, right? We just got to see this fresh. This man can't even get in the game. He's a DNP. He's a non-fit player. He couldn't impact beating Serbia. He couldn't impact beating Germany or whoever, France, whoever they had to play. He's a great player, but he's not as great as Luka. I guarantee you Luka would have been on the floor in all those Olympic games, and they still would have won the championship. It's very clear to see Luka be in a harder conference and take lesser talented players and get them just as far as Jayson Tatum gets them. He will get to that point. He's gotten to the conference finals, and this past year, he got them to the finals with lesser talented players. Jayson Tatum has played with stacked teams. Go back and look. Look at the guys that Jayson Tatum has played with, the guys that he couldn't get along with, like the Kyries and all these dudes. Look at the teams he's played with. The impact is clearly on Luka's side because he's raising everybody's bar. And he's dragging teams to conference finals and to the finals. And he's doing it in the Olympics when he plays.
Elder, I love the chat, and I can't sit here while you disrespect them like that and treat them like casuals, saying things like he couldn't impact winning in the Olympics. Well, that's a Steve Kerr problem once again. We go back to Steve Kerr. If Jayson Tatum, that doesn't diminish Jayson Tatum's impact on winning. That just means they got LeBron and KD. I do feel like if Jayson Tatum was playing in those games, they still would have won. You know what I mean? But you talk about the role players on Boston and how you said he disappears or whatever. Let's not act like PJ Washington and Derrick Jones Jr. is the brother's name, I believe. Don't act like those guys didn't step up and do what they had to do against OKC. Without them, I don't know if they win that series. Some people even call that the PJ Washington series. I've heard it a bunch of times. Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively, those two young fellas, they stepped up and did what they had to do, being lob threats. And when they made those trades for PJ and Gafford, that boosted the team. So let's not act like basketball is not a team sport. Saying that you got good players should never be a knock on your star. Because if that's the case, then we'll have to knock Luka for the OKC series. I don't think that's fair at all. I want to end this round by going back to my original point and standing on the defensive fact of this. If you are a negative on defense, the impact of winning cannot be as high as a guy who's great on offense and above par on defense as well.
Keep going, Ox Cody. Elder Rufus, it's on you.
Let's get it. Hey, you ended with defense. I'll start this last round with the defense. Again, you're talking about a stacked team with a whole bunch of money paid to get that team. You can't compare Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington and guys and Derrick Jones Jr. or whatever the name is. I don't even remember now. You comparing them to Drew Holiday? You comparing them to White? You comparing them to Porzingis? Come on, bro. This not even close. And that's a team full of defenders. So his defensive rating should be a little bit better. I'm not saying Luka's on the level of him defensively, but his impact of the game, how he controls the game from the point, power forward, point guard. You put Luka play where he want to play. He do what he want to do. And this is the sad thing. He don't have the athleticism. He don't have the speed. He don't have any of that stuff. And nobody in the league can stop this man from doing whatever it is he wants to do whenever he wants to do it. That's called real impact. Because if his defense was so good, why is Luka destroying him every time they play? You can look at all the stats. Luka leads him one-on-one when they play. Luka leads him in individual game stats. Shoot, Luka got a year behind him because Jayson, I think he got 7 and Luka got 6. And Luka's stats are already the same or more than Jayson's already. And Jayson's been to more playoffs. That's it. Everything, and he got a chip this year. Everything else is in Luka's favor. Everything else.
All right, y'all. I have to say this right from the beginning. Do not vote based on bias. I repeat, do not vote based on bias. I know everybody in this chat is either pro Luka or pro JT. Vote based on pro argument, debate, points, persuasion. We'll get a lot more people that don't watch it live, and you guys' votes all matter. Just type in the comments, who do you believe won? And that will count towards the overall tally, which will be done after this Sunday, week 4, the last regular season week of the PCL. Fellas, appreciate y'all for coming and holding it down.
Good debate, Elder, for sure.
Yes,
Hey, Ron.
sir. Yes, sir.
When am I gonna get it? When am I gonna get a Kings topic, Ron? Hook me up, man.
I'll see.
Hey, give him the 72 Kings. Oh, they won't even call the Kings then. My bad.
All right, so I'm out of here.
Hey, y'all. I will see you two in the playoffs in a couple weeks.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be easy.
It's the player choice way. Yeah, them boys don't get it started. The player choice way. Yeah, the player choice way. Come and switch lanes into the player choice way.